Facebook. Here we are once again. R. Christian Minson here with Rythmia Live, coming to you from sunny Costa Rica, Guanacaste, Costa Rica, where the weather seems to be always sunny, warm, not a cloud in the sky. Today anyway, there were a few clouds this morning. So just killing time to wait for some people to show up. I see one person on so far. Two people on. So welcome. If you're coming on, type in the chat bar and tell me who you are. Three people, four people on. Jason joined. All right, it's starting to tell me now. How 6? It was 8, now back to 6. Jason, Brittany. Hi, Brittany. And Jason. Hi, Jason. Brad. Hi from Arizona. Sheila joined. I'm doing well, Jason. How are you? Excellent. Hey, everyone. I don't mind likes, thumbs ups, all those kind of things. That's a good way to get us started here. We got 12 people on, 13. I just always kill a little time before we get started. Want to give people a few minutes to join on. Jamie says hi. Hi, Jamie. If you're joining on, type in the box where you're coming from, where you are today. How about this? Tell me where you're coming from and what the temperature is. Preferably in Fahrenheit, but if you're a Celsius kind of guy, you can do that, or gal. Let's see. Mason's also doing very well. Good, thanks. Wow, look at all those thumbs ups happening across the board. Love it. I love it. Love seeing that. What's the weather like over there? The weather here is sunny, warm, very windy today. It's quite windy. As you can see, I'm looking this direction. It's because I'm looking out the window. We have a window in our Rythmia Live studio, and that gives me a view of the pool area. I can see some palm trees blowing in the wind. Jamie says Washington State. Brad Holloway, 72, where he's from. Excellent. Kim, Ohio, 36. Oh my gosh, that's cold. So what is it here today? 91. 91 in Jose Pinilla, which is this little area that we're in where Rythmia is. So we're up to 49. As soon as we got to 50, I was going to get started. 49. Are we getting there? 45. It keeps jumping backwards from 49 to 45. Come on, one more and we can break this. Cold upper Michigan, about 30 degrees. Rhode Island, hey Mickey, 48, 53. All right, we did it. We broke my barrier. So welcome everyone. My name is R. Christian Minson of Rythmia Life Advancement Center here in Guanacaste, Costa Rica, where it's always sunny and warm. Today, I'm coming to you to talk to you about turning your vulnerability into a superpower. A little bit about me. I'm a certified transformational breath facilitator, senior trainer with the Transformational Breath Foundation. I'm the resident breathwork director here at Rythmia. So you come here to do the different programs. Breathwork is right up there with the plant medicine. So I'm your guy. Myself and Nicole Rager are the ones sort of leading breathwork in this fine institution. And I'm an international speaker and author, contributing author to this fine book back here, Align, Expand, and Succeed, Shifting the Paradigm of Entrepreneurial Success, which is all about merging the fields of business and consciousness, which is exactly what Rythmia is doing here and what a lot of people decide they're going to do once they leave here. They get a lot of clear insight as to their next business ventures, and most of them want to up-level their game and bring it bring their business in alignment with their consciousness now. So this is a great book to get you started, and it's available here at Rythmia. But the more important book to to remind you about is Shit the Moon Said. This is Jerry Powell's book, our CEO, all about his story and the story of Rythmia. And bringing it up because we're getting close to the end. We've been doing a promotion that if you get this book, take a picture of it with the book, you write a little testimonial and then hashtag it with Shit the Moon Said, post it on Facebook or Instagram, and you're entered in to win a weekly drawing for a all expenses paid trip to Rythmia. When I say all expenses paid, you have to get here. You fly here, but your shuttle, your plant fees, your stay, all paid for. So we got about 2 weeks left here, so there's 2 more opportunities to win. So buy it, take the picture, hashtag Shit the Moon Said, and put it on Facebook or Instagram. As easy as that. All right, let's tune in a little bit more. George Bell, talking to Jason, breathless at 10,000. Yeah. Claudio Rios from Florida. Hey there, Mickey May. All right, so we're caught up. All right, so today's topic, now we're at about 86 people. Excellent. Today's topic, as I said, is really turning vulnerability into a superpower. And I'm here to basically bring you each week practical inspiration. And I like, there's a double entendre there because being the breathwork director, inspiration has a double meaning. One, as we all know, to be inspired to come to some realization or a deeper awareness about something. And of course, inspiration, when we're talking about breathing, means to breathe in. So I got into breath work because it is a very practical thing. I'm a very practical, down-to-earth kind of guy. And even though I've been a monk for 10 years in a spiritual organization, really focusing on the more esoteric side of life, it was a very practical organization. Embodied spirituality, practical inspiration is what I like to bring. And this topic today, making vulnerability into a superpower, is a very practical subject. So we're really learning today how to make friends with our vulnerability, not to feel so exposed. When we think about vulnerability, we think about being exposed and open in that way, but rather feeling more open and all embracing. This is the angle of vulnerability we want to take today. And Jamie says, awesome, good. And hi from Trader Joe's, Tom. Basically the place I would shop back in the States, no matter, it was my number one dinner spot, basically. Trader Joe's, good stuff there, especially for a bachelor. Yeah, perhaps not the healthiest, but not the unhealthiest either. So back on topic. So why is this an important subject? And basically, get this, that your strength is really in your ability to feel. If there's stuff that you're holding down, if you're not allowing yourself to feel stuff or be authentic about what you're feeling, that becomes your Achilles heel. Remember the story of Achilles, the Greek god Achilles, and I don't remember this particular myth specifically. I think Achilles was a runner, I think maybe even a marathon runner, and but his Achilles heel, why we call our Achilles heel, he was somehow compromised. Somebody chopped him at his Achilles heel and he could no longer run. And that's where we get this phrase, is that there is that place in the back of our foot that is very vulnerable. And the whole thing being, there's this vulnerable exposedness. If it's taken advantage of, that's our Achilles heel. That's what can be our downfall, basically. So these stored emotions or stored feelings can be our Achilles heel. And why is that? Because you always got to protect yourself around that. You find yourself eliminating choices or eliminating relationships or eliminating conversations, opportunities basically, because they might expose this feeling, or they might expose this thing that you're holding, trying to hide inside. So being not vulnerable, holding it all in, can ultimately work against you. And then finally, when it does get exposed, you feel decimated because you've been working with this energy that's a bad thing, that's not to be revealed. So we want to change that. So Brad's saying, so wonderful, thank you. See y'all soon. Excellent. George feels great. So that's, our vulnerability is also the space in which we can heal and integrate old patterns. All right. So you got to understand, you've got to be open and allow this energy out, to allow it to heal and integrate. If you are closed down, you can't release this energy, and it sits there stuck. It's like pressure in a pressure cooker that's valve doesn't work properly, and the pressure keeps building and building. And if you don't find a way to release it, eventually, kaboom, you're going to blow. So vulnerability is a very important aspect of our life. And again, I'll stress that our strength is in your ability to feel. So what is vulnerability? Basically, what I just said. Vulnerability is your ability to feel your feelings, your ability to express yourself, express your truth, to understand your truth, to express it, and to stand in it, to not hide in it, or not hide in hide in any of your experiences, or hide any of your experiences in life. Right? So that vulnerability is the ability to lay it out all on the table. The thing about this, vulnerability is like metaphorically, like the soil in which you plant the seeds of your deepest dreams and aspirations. So think about that. If you plant a seed and then you cover it up with a jar, or let's say something opaque like a plastic container, that seed's never going to grow, right? It's not exposed to the rain. It's not exposed to the sunshine. It's not exposed to the air. That seed stays dormant. And if you think about it, our deepest dreams and aspirations are the things that lie closest to the most vulnerable part of us, our soul, our deepest nature. And in order for those dreams to actually take root, we need to expose them, expose that seed to the elements, so that the water can come and water that seed, so the air can come and it can breathe, and the sun can come and nourish it, so that it will sprout into a plant. Now, a seedling benefits from having some kind of protection around it, but this is really the crux of the topic we're talking about. That what we tend to do is overprotect ourselves with our vulnerability. So we become this fortress, this impenetrable fortress that keeps anything from entering and hurting our vulnerability. It's really because vulnerability is a two-edged sword, right? That exposure basically allows you, the more open you are, the more exposed to life you are, the more you can experience the fine nuances of life, the subtleness, the beauty, the grandeur. It's all open to you because you're open to it. Now, at the same time, though, when you're wide open, you are exposed, right? If you don't have a shield up, somebody can take a sword and, ream you right through the gut. So we're always playing this game between keeping ourselves shielded and keeping ourselves open. And what I found, why this topic comes up in the first place is because most of us not only have one shield up, but we've got chainmail armor, and under that armor we've got what's that, Kevlar, whatever that shirt kind of thing, a Kevlar shirt basically, and so on and so forth, that we're so protected that then our ability to really embrace life is compromised, and we sit behind this cage and mope. We're in a mood, and it's like that whole gilded cage idea. It may be a beautiful cage, but it's still a cage, and if you feel caged, nothing is going to make you happy. You can bring all the most wonderful food. You can bring in the most beautiful girls or the most handsome guys. You can have all sorts of entertainment come in and all that. But if you're feeling caged deep down inside, then nothing is going to bring you happiness. So releasing or becoming vulnerable is like opening the door to the cage. This cage, unfortunately, nobody else has put that cage around you but you. And so this whole topic is helping you realize that, first of all, that we are the ones responsible for the cage, and that the way to open that cage door is to let ourselves be vulnerable, let ourselves feel our feelings, let ourselves begin to express our truth, what you're thinking in your head, what you're feeling in your heart, and lay it out there. And whether somebody else agrees with it or not, that's the big deal. Where, let me say, vulnerability also is like, for all you guys out there, maybe it's like playing a basketball game, right? It's like the difference between, why vulnerability is so important. The difference between playing a basketball game where you're there, you're in the game, you're sweating, you're making the shots, you're rubbing up against the other team, you're huffing and puffing, but you are actively alive and vibrantly in the game. The difference between that and watching the game on TV, right? So they're still the same game, you're watching all that stuff go on, but you're removed from it. You are, there's a little bit of excitement that comes from vicariously watching the game, but you're not in it. You're not feeling what it feels like to make that shot. You're not feeling the energy it takes to run down that court and grab that ball away from the defender. So this is what we're talking about. By opening ourselves up, we're opening ourselves to experiencing life in its fullest. Now in the game, you might get knocked over. You might somebody might smack you upside the head and all that. So there's the possibility of extra pain as well. But the real question is that worth it or not? There was that phrase that comes in the old cliche that's, it's better to have loved and lost than never to have loved at all. You heard that one before? It's better to have loved and lost than never to have loved at all. And this is speaking directly to this concept of being vulnerable and opening up, because it's like to never have loved would be to never have experienced the joy, the pure, the essence of what life is. And just think, if you never experienced that at all, because every time it got close to love, you decided to shut things down, right? Because it's possible that you could have gotten hurt. So you just shut it down so you don't ever get to that place of love, so you never get to that place of hurt. Versus getting in there, loving, having this passionate, deep connection, experience the joys, the ups and downs, the whole ride of it, and then losing that and being crushed, having the grief of losing that. And yet the whole phrase there is it's better to have done all that than to never have loved at all. Because a life without love, life without vulnerability is like flatlined life. A life where you expose yourself, where you let these things happen, is a life that has tremendous peaks and valleys, and a life of juiciness, a life worth living. Let's see what people are saying right now. Jason saying, Debbie saying, yes, Christian, good. Jason, breathe. You telling me to breathe, or just in general? I could always use that advice. Snakes are good. All right, sink into the feeling. Debbie so needed that. Risk has no regret. That's right. If you take a risk, a lot of this is really learning to take risks in our lives. It's better to have loved than to never have loved. So the snake thing, what is she saying? I felt protected. I also felt it was uncoiling in a sense. I'm wondering if that's Kundalini rising. Let's see if I can go back to where that one has. What happens if you see a snake face to face? I've heard people speak about it, Jaguar. All right. I'm not really. Are you talking about with plant medicine, Giselle? If you see a real snake face to face, the best thing to do is back away slowly and get out of there quickly, so you don't end up finding out if it's poisonous or not. But a snake face to face in plant medicine is a place to get vulnerable. It's a place to surrender. Another word for vulnerability is surrender. To take down the defenses and say, welcome it in. Usually what happens in plant medicine and also in breath work is that all sorts of darkness comes to the surface. It's coming to the surface not as a way, it's not being added onto you. It's coming from within. All this stuffed garbage, all this stuffed repressed and suppressed emotions coming to the surface, and they're dark and mucky, and they'll take the form of like a snake or a dragon, or something that might elicit a little bit of fear. And this is the moment for you to allow this concept of being vulnerable to really take root. By opening up, by surrendering to it and just being with it, the thing dissolves. The darkness dissolves into light. The ugliness dissolves into beauty. The hurt dissolves into integrated emotion, and peace and joy can fill in from there. So hopefully that kind of answers that. With that, yes, but aren't there also lives only full of suffering? There's lives only full of suffering if suffering is a choice. Pain. Pain is part of life. Suffering is a choice. What we do with any of our experiences is totally up to us. Now, I agree that if you're in, let's say, you're in 110 degree heat all day long, every day of the year, that's a little bit harder for you to come to an equilibrium than if you're in a tropical paradise where the temperature is like 78 degrees all the time and just beautiful. But this is the resilience of the human spirit, and part of what we're talking about, getting vulnerable, surrendering to the situation, you can actually rise above suffering. And this is a serious topic, especially here, because a lot of people go through, like this program, you start off and then you often hit some of your darkness. This program is meant to help you stir up that latent darkness within you so that you can start to bring it out, and you stop carrying it around with you wherever you go. But when you bring it up, you're in it, and if you identify with it, you're going to suffer. If you surrender to it and allow it and watch it like a story, like you're just watching a movie, it becomes more about sensations and about interesting screenplay that's happening before your eyes. And before you know it, that energy is released and you are free of it. So, but if you're suffering, if you're in it, then you're also struggling against it. You're resisting it, and you're making that experience even more painful. And I can't tell you how much counseling we do each week when people are going through about Wednesday or Thursday. It's usually a Tuesday or Wednesday. And people are in that dark pit, and they're like, I hate this. I'm going to quit. I don't want to. And it's like, we've got to see you through. You've got to see it through. You've got to go to the end. And invariably they do. Sometimes it takes a little bit of coaching. Sometimes it takes a heck of a lot. But invariably when they do, they get to the other side and they're beaming. It happens every time. We have a 95% miracle success rate. That number is so high because we know the program works, and that's why we're coaching you in the pit of despair to say stick with it, because that's the worst place to stop. You've got to keep going. You've got to stay open, stay vulnerable to it, because that's the only way that you're going to be able to release it. So hopefully that's making some sense to you. Rich says, my girlfriend's there now. She says your breath work is intense. I practiced Wim Hof, got into it about 3 years ago. Excellent, Rich. Well, the breath work is intense, and yeah, I encourage you to come see it. It's a little bit different than Wim Hof. I'd say it's more, the focus is more about emotional integration and about spiritual connection. Wim Hof, from what I understand, is more about transcending our limitations, being able to do things that we think were physically impossible, that we can do them. Giselle says, thank you for the insight. Good, so that helped. And Kenneth's saying, great, beautiful. So I was talking about vulnerability, like playing a game for another way to look at it is like cooking a meal, getting in there, working with the spices, smelling them, tasting them, chopping the vegetables, feeling the texture of the food, cooking it, getting the aroma, tasting it, getting the taste just right. All that is like the experience of life. Or you could be watching World's Greatest Chef on TV, right? And again, you're watching all the vegetables being chopped, you're watching all the spices going, you're hearing the sizzling and all that, but you're not there, you're not experiencing it. And that's a life with your guard up. Your guard up allows you to see the surface of life, but it doesn't give you the full effulgence of life, the full beauty of it. And so what I'm really encouraging here today is to live life to the fullest. Live every moment you can, and the only way that I know to do that is to get vulnerable. To the degree that we can get vulnerable, that degree we can welcome life in. So we got our guard up all the way, look through my fingers. Only that much of me are you going to see. If you got that much guard up, well, there you're going to see a little bit more. You put your guard completely down, now we have a complete connection. And, use any emotion. It's better to have loved and lost than never to have loved at all. It's better to have, risked and failed than never to have risked at all, right? You could sit on your couch all your life thinking, well, I could do this, but it's really too risky, So by the end of life, there's all these great ideas of what you could have done, but you never tried anything. I was in that rut for a while. I finally said, I've got to just try something, whether I fail or not. And I can tell you that I tried some things and failed. But one great mind said, a failure is just a learning step to your next success. So when you fail, you're really learning something about how to succeed the next time. So you don't do that same thing the next time that you're there. So it's better to love than lost. It's better to have risked than lost. It's better to have felt your feelings and gotten hurt than never to have felt them at all. Again, really, it's speaking to the essence of life. It's better to have actually lived life than to dug yourself in an early grave, to be a walking zombie, right? Why are zombies so popular these days. There's this theory of our mass psyche. Vampires were really, really popular way back in the 1950s and all that. Now sexy vampires are more in vogue these days, but zombies have come to the front. And my belief is because it's reflecting life right now. A majority of people out there are walking zombies. Watch them, just people watch someday, and you'll see that people are alive, but they're not living. Right? And is that you? If you feel like you're alive but not living, then this talk is for you. Get vulnerable. Start taking those risks. Start expressing your truth and your feeling. And at first, it may be awkward. It may be difficult. But I guarantee you it's going to bring more fulfillment in the long run. Kenneth says, great. Good. And so... but like we said, this is a two-edged sword. So what are we're really, the negative edge is our fears. We're basically fearing rejection. We're fearing humiliation. We're feeling that somebody's not going to meet us on the level that we're really hoping. And that's the better to have loved and lost. Better to have put it out there and not be met than to never have put it out there at all. Because what are we doing when we never put it out there at all? We're actually never being met, right? It's a self-fulfilled prophecy where we, like they say, better to have loved and lost than never to have loved at all. If you've never loved at all, you've essentially lost at love. So you have spent your whole life as a loser in the sense of you've never loved, so you've lost at that game of love. But if you've loved, at least even if it was briefly good, that you got to experience that brief goodness, and the rest of it could have been lost. But you tried and you grasped that part of life. So again, hopefully that's making sense. So how do we do this, basically, then? How can you become more vulnerable? And this is where the Rythmia program comes in. So, this is essentially why we do these Facebook Lives each week, is to promote the value of the program that we have here. Of course, me being the breathwork director, my love and passion is really the breathwork, and that's one of the ways that you can practice getting vulnerable, right in the comfort of your own home. It's just start breathing. Start breathing and allowing your feelings to arise. The basic how is start feeling. Start allowing yourself to identify your feelings. An exercise, here's an exercise. We can all do this right now. Just close your eyes. Take a couple deep breaths in. Get comfortable wherever you're at. As long as you're not driving, basically, I'd say that you can do this exercise along with me. Just close your eyes and feel your body, and just identify, what am I feeling in my body right now? So I feel something like in the back of my neck, a little bit of tension in the back of the neck. I feel a little bit of heaviness in the front of my face. I feel a little bit of sort of tingly butterflyness in my heart and belly. So this is just the physical. What are you feeling physically? Right? This is getting you in touch with who you are, this vehicle. And that helps you to go deeper then. What am I feeling emotionally? Right now I'm feeling a little bit, a little apprehensive, a little bit scared as I talk about this subject of vulnerability. I'm feeling a little bit vulnerable myself. I'm feeling a sense of peace and relief, especially as I've read some of these comments where it seems like some of this is landing for you, that I feel like I'm bringing something of value. Now, so what are you feeling? What is it that you're feeling in your heart? This is a practice to identify what's there, and then start feeling it. Like, be there. Now, like I said, I'm feeling a little, peace and a little bit of joy because what I'm saying is resonating with you. But what if it wasn't resonating with you? What if you're saying, you're full of shit, Christian, I don't get this at all? Well, I might feel a little angst. I might feel a little upset, a little fearful, like, how am I gonna get across to these people? But I would feel that, right? I would allow myself to feel that. This is the point. It's not like, oh, I've got to get away from those feelings. Those aren't the feelings I want. I want those other feelings, so I'm going to stuff these and pretend that I have those. That's putting up the mask. That's putting up the barrier. You got to let the feelings be there. And this is the trick. As you let those feelings be there, as you let yourself feel them, they come up, they're felt, and they evaporate. And eventually a new feeling starts to arise. So this is what we do in a more intense way with the breath work. The breath work, through a process of accelerated breathing, accelerates our ability to feel our feelings. It brings them up from deeper within. It brings them up more intensely. And it also clears them more effectively. So the process of breath work is essentially the process of life on steroids. It's a process of life accelerated in an hour-and-a-half session where, life is going to take many weeks, months, or years. You can get that same kind of experience of clearing and catharsis in just a few minutes. So breath work is an effective way. So first we got just feeling your feelings, then using breath work as a way to process those feelings even more deeply and more fully. And then plant medicine. The plant medicine does the same thing. Now with plant medicine, it kind of blows open the doors, and really when the doors are blown open, it's like your defense shield has been blown open. Like you have no defenses anymore. And this, with medicine, will happen often against your will, because your will is holding on to these doors, and it seems to be like inversely proportional. The more you're holding on, the more medicine will come in and blow those doors open. If you're holding on gently, medicine's going to come in and more gently open those doors. If you're not holding on at all, if you're just willing to be vulnerable, you essentially open those doors, and the medicine can gently do what it's doing. So just think, the depth of the pain that you're experiencing usually is proportional to how much resistance you have, how much you're actually holding those doors shut, and how much the medicine has to use heavy artillery to blow them open, or whether you're going to leave it unlocked and let it just easily open. All right, so, oh, whoops, damn. Sometimes this doesn't move, so we got a lot more comments. Rising above the wings of surrender. Surrender, allowing you to receive new energy and release the energy that is no longer serving me. Thank you. Love you all so much. Beautiful Jamie. Moira, would I still gain benefit from coming to your center if I decide not to do? Oh, yes. You'll definitely gain benefit. And if you're deciding not to do the plant medicine, what I would suggest then is to come to one of our breathwork weeks. So starting in May, Rythmia is actually going to do 1 week a month where all of the ceremonies are breath ceremonies. So you arrive Friday or Saturday or Sunday, you do the normal breath works that we do Saturday and Sunday. And then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, when there's normally plant medicine, we'll be doing more intensive, deeper breath work with an element of hypnosis involved in it as well. We do have the ayahuasca tincture that we'll be using during those things, so that's a homeopathic dose of the ayahuasca. That's available during the breathwork weeks. But so if you're really not wanting to do the plant medicine, that to me would be the most powerful experience. Now you could always come to Rythmia schedule normal, do the breathworks on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, And during the plant medicine ceremonies, you could sit in ceremony without doing the medicine. And there's a few people who did that last night in the final ceremony and were blown away by how much they were still in it with everybody. But generally, I would say that I would advocate doing the breath ceremonies to do the breathwork week. So hopefully that explains that for you, Moira. Richard, I was at Rythmia last year, just before you started. Curious, are the breathwork sessions different now than they were? When were you, Richard? They're still, it may be slightly different format, but they're still the same style of breathwork that we do here. So, but the schedule shifted around, I think, for the better. Now, the breathwork and the plant medicine are all on equal footing. You start with breathwork, you move into the plant medicine ceremonies, you end with the breathwork, and that seems to bookend your plant medicine ceremonies very well. It ramps you up for them, and it takes you down from them so you can get back into your life in the most integrated sort of way. Jesse, I feel called to help others transform out of their darkness, yet my own seems so staggering and continues to uncover layers. It gets exhausting. One thing, Jesse, and all you out there who are thinking about healers, you don't have to be fully healed yourself to be a healer, all right? Recognize that a lot of people have talent in helping others when they're not fully helped themselves, and that's okay. There's nothing unethical about that, or nothing realistic about that. Basically, if you're human, you've got some healing to do. There's very few of us who are like just sailing on top level where we don't have anything to work on. So to say that before you can do anything for anybody else, you have to be perfect yourself is a fallacy. And so, let yourself, you got to continue to do your work for sure. But you can be healing others. And the more honest and vulnerable you are about it too, you'll find that as a healer, the more vulnerable that you can be about your own experience, the more others will actually relate to you and get healed themselves, or get integrated and helped. So that's a powerful lesson. Fail equals first attempt in learning. Yeah, FAIL, first attempt in learning. Beautiful, Tim. Hi from California, Marina. Hi, Debbie. Gratitude for the experience of love. Tom, really appreciate the topic. Sachikar, my husband just left me and I had never felt so vulnerable. So, and that's it. And feel it, Satya. It's I feel for you. It's not an easy time. And I can tell you this, that if you try to cover up those feelings, they're still there. And they're revolving in the background, and they're causing you to look at everybody and say, not him, not him, not him, not, and potentially never get into a relationship again, or make a very poor choice. If you can let yourself just feel grief and a grieving period are very important parts of the whole process of life, the whole process of vulnerability. When we get hurt, it's important to feel that hurt in order to let it go. If we don't feel it, we're holding on to it. And even if we've stuffed it down and pretend that it's not on our inner consciousness, it still leaks up and leaks out and discolors everything that we perceive. So be with that, and maybe consider coming here. It's a powerful way to heal. Debbie, I'm still working on seeing you live to learn this in person. Good. You can see me here. You can see me in May in San Diego. Jesse, sorry to hear that. Yeah, that's good. Jesse, thanks for reaching out to her. Sebastian, thank you. I'll try to remember to keep looking once I want to look away the most. Beautiful. Yeah, keep looking at it when you want to look away. I want to love life, but it's kind of hard when people get born that probably only experienced pain or just so much pain. Should one do the fast and deep breathing sitting or lying down? Sebastian, I would recommend doing it basically. I mean, if you're doing a shorter session, sitting or lying down is fine. Lying down is my preferred way, generally speaking. Kevin Lee joined. Satya, thank you, Jesse. Good connection there. See, take that for a moment. Satya, you are vulnerable. You're just vulnerable about your experience with your husband leaving you. And you express that. You expressed your truth here and now. And then Jesse reached out. Hopefully you felt like I reached out too. But what did it feel like? As you say, thank you, Jesse. Feel what you felt in that moment. What did that vulnerability yield? There was a sense of connection, I would say, probably a sense of love, a sense of caring. Somebody is with you there, and you're not totally alone, which is probably a feeling you feel as as a significant partner has left you. So that's a good real-time lesson in what vulnerability can bring. Michael, can you speak about processing and identifying the emotions released with breathwork? Hopefully I did that, but that's exactly the process. The emotions are stuffed below the surface. We're pretending we don't see them. Sometimes we're even consciously unaware of them. It's been so long that we stuffed them. The breathwork gets in and activates that energy. It's like it pops the lid off the door and all this energy starts to bubble to the surface. As it does, we remember these experiences. At least we remember the energy of those experiences. Maybe we don't know that was the time I was locked in the closet or that's the time I was sent to my room. But we remember the energy, and it might feel sad or it might feel angry or it might feel lonely or whatever. That's where we have to stay vulnerable and feel those feelings. We keep breathing into them. We keep feeling that energy. And eventually that energy evaporates, just like a weather pattern, just like rain comes in, eventually the rain quits. It doesn't rain forever, and then it moves on. We don't feel sad forever. We don't feel angry forever. If we let ourselves feel it, it moves along a lot quicker. If we hold on to it, we could essentially feel it forever because it keeps circulating. It keeps wanting to come up to be expressed, to be released, but we keep sending it back down, either consciously or unconsciously. But it keeps affecting us. So hopefully that experience explains processing and identifying emotions released with breath work. Jessica, hi. Jessica, Wendy, hi. Debbie, I'm so there. I can't wait. Richard was here. Sounds like you're here for that schedule. Good. Yeah. So, and you'll be back. Great. Well, reach out and meet me. I'd love to meet you. Brad joined. Hey, Brad. Jason, bueno. If you've been here, you know what that means. Satya, it is so hard. It is so hard. And you know what's harder? What's harder is to keep those emotions with you the rest of your life. So we've always got a choice. We can experience what's hard, which is to get vulnerable, or we can experience what's harder, which is actually to hold on to those emotions and let our lives be miserable on one level or another for the rest of our lives. Getting vulnerable, it's miserable for a while, and it starts to clear. Holding on to them, it stays. That feelings of misery keep cropping up for the rest of our lives until we finally let go of them, which for some of us is death. Death is when we finally actually let go of all these emotions and feelings. Let's see. Annika, to share your weakness is to make yourself vulnerable. To make yourself vulnerable is to show your strength. Yeah, great quote. So it's a paradox because it's like our perceived weakness is our greatest strength. When we're open, we have the ability to connect on such a deeper level. And Dave, we're with you, Satya. See, look at that. Many people are joining in. Is Mitra still facilitating ceremony on Friday nights? No, Tommy, he doesn't facilitate on Friday nights. He facilitates on Thursday nights. So yes, and he just did last night. Debbie, we're totally here with you. And gratitude, Christian. This was a perfect way. Perfect. Wow. Yay. Surrender. Excellent. So, I'll leave you with this. What if you started practicing this vulnerability, just getting in touch with your feelings? Think of the possibility of how your life could expand in beauty and love and joy, and probably expand in pain too, and a little bit of suffering. But as the great Michael Brown says, it's not about feeling better, it's about getting better at feeling. When we get better at feeling, all of our feelings become an important part of our experience. And we receive sadness with the same deeper joy that we receive happiness. We receive anger with the same deeper joy that we receive peace. And what I found is when we do get better at feeling, we actually do end up feeling better. So with that, I'm going to leave you. I'm going to remind you about Shit the Moon Said. Get the book. Take a picture with it. Post it on Facebook or Instagram with the hashtag Shit the Moon Said. And we've got about 2 weeks left to win a free vacation to Rythmia. So that's the possibility for you. Whoops, a few more coming in at the end. Namaste from Israel. Thanks for doing this. Seems like you're a really good person. Thanks. Come see me here, and then you can. This is a good. So I can seem like a good person here, but we're removed again, right? So to get vulnerable, to really find out how good a person I am, and you want to come meet me, come get in with me, come struggle with me a little bit. Then you really know. And I think I am a good person, so it's there's no risk in that. But it's like getting together with a partner. You get together with that person, you hash it out a little bit, you find out you're not compatible. Well, that actually is the good news, right? It's like you would have never found that out if you didn't try first. So anyway, use that to make one last lesson out of this. And Stacy, thank you. Vulnerability is an issue for myself and so many I know. Beautiful. Working hard to open my heart again. Keep working, Stacy, because life only gets more beautiful the more open your heart can be. And the Rythmia program can give you a new heart, repair your heart, and this is one of the cornerstones of the program. So great talk. Thanks, Rich. Debbie, I did it. Yeah. Dave, thank you. Hope to see you again soon. Mickey, thank you. Debbie, awesome. And I'm amazing. You're amazing too, Debbie. So with that, I'm all good. And you're good, hopefully. See you next week on the Rythmia Live here. Breathwork edition. I'm R. Christian Minson signing off for today. Have a good one.